正解。
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 99. Adulterer. It was a lively new year in the Shen residence. Originally it was because of Ren Wanyun's and Shen Qing's matters that the atmosphere of the general's residence became depressing. But after the arrival of Jing Chuchu and Jing Guansheng, old Shen Furen was filled with enthusiasm. She often allowed both siblings to walk around the general's residence, and Shen Yu was one who was accustomed to deal with people. Thus in a short time she and Ging Chuchu refer to one another as sisters, but no one knew if it was sincere or not. Although Shen Yu treated Jing Chuchu and brother well, the place where this pair of siblings liked to run the most was the western courtyard, especially Jing Chuchu, who often sent over snacks to those who were practicing swordplay. With the previous experience, when coming over she brought a share of soup for everyone, but as compared to the soup that Shen Miao made, the taste was not as wonderful. Those soldiers were frank and outspoken people and keep constantly thinking about the soup that Shen Miao made, and did not show much gratitude to Jing Chuchu's efforts. Today was also the case. After the food that Jing Chuchu brought over was finished, Shen Kaiyu did not talk with her and wanted to continue practicing his sword, but was stopped by Jing Chuchu. Biao older brother. It is better for Biao younger sister to return earlier. Shen Kaiyu smiled candidly. The people here practicing swordplay are all coarse and there are no eyes on swords, thus it would not be good as one accidentally hurts you. Besides, you keep on running here all day and you are a female, so it is not a good thing to watch us males practice swords. It was actually an order to expel the guest. Jing Chuchu's face flushed red in a moment and looked at Shen Kaiyu incredulous. Her eyes were wavering with ripples, as if in the next moment she would be crying. Normal males would have tender and protective feelings for the fairer gender when they saw her actions. But Shen Kaiyu was not one who appreciated beautiful people and just stood there blankly without even going forward to comfort. Seeing Shen Kaiyu being like this, Jing Chuchu's originally flushed face became white suddenly. She hurriedly lowered her head and picked up the basket. Chuchu, understand? Shen then picked her skirt up and ran away. Those who did not know would think that Shen Kaiyu did something to her. After Jing Chuchu left, a person appeared behind the column. It was Shen Miao, who then said, "Eldest brother, you really do not know how to cherish flowers." Hi. Shen Kaiyu scratched his head. "I am afraid that younger sister will get angry." "Why would I be angry?" Shen Miao said flutteringly. Shen Kaiyu suddenly felt a burst of cold wind whizzed by and he said, "Younger sister do not like Biao younger sister. I have no grudges against Biao older sister, so how would I not like?" Shen Miao retorted. Zhao, is it that girl bullied you in secret?" Shin Xin, who just finished practicing the sword, walked over and coincidentally heard the conversation between Shen Kaiyu and Shen Miao and said, "If she bully you, do not speak anymore and beat her up." "What nonsense are you talking?" Luo Zuyan saw them talking lively and also walked over. When she heard him she glared at Shin Xin. Zhao, do not listen to your father's nonsense. How can a young lady casually make a move? If she really bully you, come back and tell mother. Mother will beat her up for you." "That is still a beating," Shen Kaiyu muttered. "It is better for me to go give a beating since I am young and strong." Shin Miao said, "She did not bully me." "Then why does Zhao not like her?" Luo Zuyan asked. Even slow-witted people were able to see that Shen Miao did not like Jing Chuchu. As long as Jing Chuchu comes over, Shen Miao would ask Shen Kaiyu to practice shooting darts. It was actually quite merciless to shoot darts, and usually Shen Xin and the rest would not do it in the residence, fearing that it would scare the maids. After all, it does not look good as they used little active animals as live targets. Every time Jing Chuchu came over, Shen Miao would say, "Father, eldest brother, I want to watch darts shooting." Jing Chuchu would pale every single time but would still stand at the side and often vomited after watching. Shen Miao enjoyed this and never seemed tired of it, as her heart felt comfortable every time Jing Chuchu vomited. Over time, everyone in the courtyard could see that Shen Miao deliberately messed with Jing Chuchu. Shin Xin and the rest did not quite understand, but upon seeing Shen Miao throwing a temper, They thought that it was most likely some discord between young ladies, and because it was not good for men to directly intervene in young ladies' matter, they let Shen Miao continue with her temper. Most likely they were just too curious that they could not help but ask. "I do not dislike her," Shen Miao said. Just as she finished speaking, Jings, who was standing at the side, opened her mouth. "Young lady like quietness, but that be a young lady and be a young master often come over to talk to young lady, especially that be a young master who just had to chat with young lady. Young lady had always not liked to talk to strangers and it is assumed that it is a bit annoying." Jings made those remarks with a serious expression and Shen Miao could not help but turn back and look at her. Shin Zin's and Luo Zuyan's faces changed as Jings's words on the surface sounded that Shen Miao was annoyed by the siblings from the Jing family, but actually there were additional meaning to the words. For a Bia young master to often come over to talk to a Bia younger sister, it was somewhat of an effort of entanglement. Luo Zuyan angrily spoke. "What is the meaning of that nephew of yours? Furan, quell your anger." Shin Zin quickly soothed before turning to Shen Kaiyu. "You brat. You have arranged so many guards in the courtyard and still did not discover that your younger sister is disturbed by those cats and dogs?" Shen Kaiyu felt wronged. "I really did not discover." Naturally Shen Kaiyu would not discover anything because the places that Jingguan Shen chose to encounter with Shen Miao were not in the courtyard. It was either at the residence's doors or in the gardens or even at the corridor. In short, it was always a chance encounter. "Go and guard the courtyard's door properly. If those two siblings are seen, just say that the courtyard need to be closed to practice swordplay. No one can let them in." Shin Zin roared. Shen Kaiyu immediately went to select the people. Luo Zuyan caressed Shen Miao's head. "Zhao Zhao, in the future if that person come and disturb you, do not need to be courteous with them, beat him up." Shen Zin. After Luo Zuyan and Shin Zin returned back to the training grounds, Shen Miao's gaze fluttered towards Jings. "You have too much words. This servant knows one's mistake." "But young lady," Jings hanged her head down, "that be a young master is obviously up to no good with you. Since you have long saw it, why not tell Master and Furan about it?" Jingguan Sheng is an astute person. Shen Miao lightly smiled. "It is a waste to discard an astute person by borrowing strength to leverage against strength. There is use if I were to keep him." But, she turned the topic of discussion, "Since you mentioned it today, there would be some things that would speed up, so let us just wait and see." After Shen Kaiyu arranged guards at the western courtyard's doors and strictly guarded against the two siblings, Jing Chuchu and Jingguan Sheng, the western courtyard quieted by a lot. Without the interferences from both siblings, Shen Miao was freer. But since it was peaceful here, there would be people who got anxious. In Rongjing Tang, old Shen Furan was staring at Jing Chuchu, as if the previous affection was just illusions. "Chuchu, what did you do? Why is it you cannot even get into the eldest one's courtyard?" Jing Chuchu lowered her head with some aggravation and softly said, "One did not know why, but fifth younger sister seemed to be very on guard with me. Biao older brother treats me rather well, but fifth younger sister always make him alienate me." The guards at the courtyard doors were also much stricter. Again with fifth girl. Old Shen Furan's face turned green and Zhang Mama, who was standing beside, quickly patted her back and comforted. "Old Furan, be appeased. That girl is so smart. Never mind with your brother. Now even you are also guarded against to this level. This angers me to death." Old Shen Furan's original intention for Jingguan Sheng and Jing Chuchu was that one would deal with Shen Miao, and the other would deal with Shen Kaiyu. But Shen Miao was after all a female, and in matters of female and male, once anything happened, the one who suffers would always be the female. With Shin Zin's and Luo Zuyan's temperament, most likely they would take action. As for Shen Kaiyu, the person who suffers was Jing Chuchu, so logically this would be skewed to their side. Previously the western courtyard people were all very casual, and since they were people who fight on the battlefield, they were not preoccupied of these little things, but who knew that the western courtyard started to change their behavior, and now they even locked up their courtyard's doors. Old Furan, Zhang Mama sighed. This kind of attitude of fifth young lady, One fear that she is already suspicious of Biao young lady, thus one fear that there will be some difficulties to move a step forward. When Jing Chuchu heard this, her heart was somewhat humiliated. She feel that she is pretty and smart, and in the Suzhou region, even gentleman Wang Sun would also fall for her soft and weak act. Thus she felt so unhappy at the moment. What you mean is? Old Shen Furen frowned. Serious illness requires ferocious medication. Zhang Mama reminded, if this matter were to drag on, it would be too late when eldest master arranged any marriage with whichever young lady of noble families. Old Shen Furen quickly reacted and played along. What you say is not wrong. If one wait till that time, it would be too late. She looked towards Jing Chuchu and a loving smile appeared on her face, but when others see that smile, it looked very fake. She said, Chuchu, do you actually want to marry Caillou or not? Jing Chuchu hung her head down. Want? Are you willing to do anything to marry Caillou? Jing Chuchu was surprised for a moment and vaguely guessed it out before her heart started jumping. When dealing with a male, she was able to do it skillfully and easily. Chuchu's pitiful look enabled her to grab onto the hearts of the rich and wealthy young masters easily. But in the general's residence, Shen Caillou was the son of the formidable great general, and that could not be compared with wealth, so naturally she would be moved. Even though she had never done such a thing before, but hearing old Shen Furen's words, it was as if a lot of golden leaves and silver flowers appeared. She clenched her fists and said softly, Chuchu is willing. Old Shen Furen smiled in satisfaction. For a few continuous days, the Shen residence had calmed down a lot, as Jing Chuchu and Jing Guansheng stayed at Rong Jingtang's courtyard and not go out. No one knew what they were fiddling about. This day when Shen Miao was walking along the corridor to head out, coincidentally she met Jing Chuchu. Jing Chuchu was wearing a white jacket with a light jade green colored skirt with a jasper hanging. In the Ding capital, young ladies from Suzhou were considered a unique flavor, and it was enough to make passers-by to stop. Fifth younger sister. Jing Chuchu rushed over to greet her. Shen Miao smiled gently. Where is Biao older sister going? It was rare for Shen Miao to talk to Jing Chuchu, so she was startled for a moment before speaking, returning to the room to do some embroidery. She lowered her head shyly. Anyways, there is nothing else to do. Since there is nothing to do, then why not go out with me? Shen Miao said, I am about to go to the jewelry shop to select some. If you do not mind, you can also go and pick some jewelry. Jing Chuchu this time was stunned, as Shen Miao usually treated her lukewarmly, and no matter how she tried to get closer, it would be unsuccessful. But it was an unprecedented thing to be willing to bring her out. Jing Chuchu had seen many infighting between the Yin-Yangs and Tongfangs in her own backyard, and thus her first reaction was alarm. But after hearing that Shen Miao was going to the jewelry shop, her eyes suddenly brightened. She seemed to be sizing Shen Miao up. Shen Miao was wearing a snow-green colored dress with lightly inked crane patterns on her skirt, and overall there was only color. She always wore dark and deep colors but did not look at all old-fashioned, and instead made her complexion look like jade and very noble. Jing Chuchu was secretly jealous, as she thought that her appearance was not far from Shen Miao, but when she stood together with Shen Miao, she inevitably felt ashamed. Shen Miao's air of nobility was inborn, and with one look, one could tell that Jing Chuchu was from a small family. The more one was jealous, the more yearning one would have. Jing Chuchu's eyes fell onto the lotus pearl hairpin on Shen Miao's hair. That pearl was big and round, almost blinding Jing Chuchu's eyes with its flashing luster when it moved. She quickly lowered her head so that her greedy gaze were out of others' view. Jing Chuchu said, since fifth younger sister has no one to accompany, then I will go along together. Bei Lu and Xuang Zhang walked behind, and there was a flash of slight contempt in their eyes. She was after all from a small family and was superficial. Just a little jewelry was enough to lead her by the nose. No wonder Shen Miao said that Jing Chuchu was one not to be feared. Both of them walked out of the residence's doors and headed to the heart of the Ding capital in the horse carriage. Naturally Shen Caillou led a group of guards to follow, making it seemingly very imposing. When they arrived at Zhenbaoji, name of the jewelry shop, Shen Miao casually selected a few jewelry. On the contrary, it was Jing Chuchu who held one and touched another, making the store manager to cast over sidelong glances. In all fairness, Jing Chuchu was considered good in terms of appearance, and it was especially so that Suzhou females usually have a soft and watery-like appearance, which was different from the females in the capital. But this kind of small family attitude discounted her pretty appearance by a lot. After all, one could not get on Adelaide in the Ding capital just based on how one looked. Seeing Jing Chuchu like this, Shen Miao was also not stingy and paid the money for all those she fancied. Jing Chuchu naturally felt closer to Shen Miao. When it was nearing noon, Shen Miao said, "Let us eat outside." After selecting the entire afternoon, one would feel somewhat hungry. Most likely you have not yet been to Din capital's Guihuoluo since ordinary people do not have such a culinary treat. Jing Chuchu looked at the grand entrance of the restaurant and her eyes revealed a longing for it. Today Shen Miao selected jewelry and bought clothes, making Jing Chuchu feel dizzy momentarily, as she had never seen one being this generous. It was because of this that she felt that the Shen family was rich, and had the determined heart to enter the Shen family. Shen Miao selected the seat by the second-floor window and the waiter mentioned a number of dishes before Shen Miao picked a few. Those she ordered were Guihuolu's signature dishes, which made Jing Chuchu dazed. It was only after the waiter left that then Shen Miao said to Jing Chuchu, "Those who patronage here are the wealthy and respectable." Many were all high-ranked officials, thus one cannot underestimate. Jing Chuchu nodded her head repeatedly. Shen Miao lightly smiled and picked up the tea to drink, but her hand carelessly trembled and the teacup was overturned onto her body and half the tea in the cup landed on the skirt. Jing Chuchu jumped in shock. "Fifth younger sister? It is of no matter." Shen Miao waved her hands and stood up. "There is a place here to change and there are some clothes in the horse carriage. I will go now to change and you can wait for me here." Finishing, she called Bei Lu and Xu Angzhong, "Let us go." When she left, the Shen residence guards also followed to leave, thus Jing Chuchu quickly shouted, "Fifth younger sister, these guards." She was after all somewhat scared. "No need to worry, no one will make things difficult for you in broad daylight," Shen Miao said. "Moreover, those who patronage here are the wealthy and respectable and would not do anything." Her expression was soft but her tone was unquestionable. Jing Chuchu subconsciously was unable to refute, and when she recovered to her senses, Shen Miao had already walked out with a group of guards. Jing Chuchu's expression darkened. Shen Miao would always have an attitude of being high above in front of her, and this kind of attitude made Jing Chuchu distinctly feel the gap between them and thus felt even more unresigned. Moreover, she had heard the people in the Shen residence talking that Shen Miao was previously a stupid and naive idiot that had no knowledge of the four scholarly arts, but still unreasonably occupied the position of the daughter of the eldest household of the Shen family. Shen Xin and wife also given to all her whims and wants, that without a second word they would let Shen Miao pick first from the things that His Majesty bestowed. Humans would always be jealous due to comparisons, and Jing Chuchu was crazy with jealousy of Shen Miao at the moment. She picked up the teacup in front but followed Shen Miao's action just now and took small sips from it, as if doing it would contract a little of Shen Miao's air of nobility. Just at this moment, a group of people walked past her and sat down in the table beside. The person who was leading was a youth that had a gentle and literary appearance, clad in rich clothes, and even the clothes of the old servants following were made of fine cloth. Thinking of Shen Miao's mention of those who patronage here are the wealthy and respectable, Jing Chuchu's heart moved. That young person seemed to have noticed her as his gaze moved over. When one could see Jing Chuchu's appearance clearly, that pair of eyes could not help but brighten. Jing Chuchu wore an off-white jaded skirt with her snow-like complexion and most importantly her soft and timid look. When she saw the person, she quickly lowered her head as if she was frightened. Most of the Ding capital's females' actions were magnanimous and proper because they were all living in the royal capital, so one would rarely see such delicate and affectionate Zhongnan female. That young person's eyes were somewhat fixed on her, and the more he looked, the more eager his gaze became, and the lower Jing Chuchu's head bent. As the time slowly elapsed, the dishes had all arrived, but Shen Miao did not come over for a long time, leaving Jing Chuchu alone sitting at the table. It was not alright for her to start eating, so she took small sips of the tea and had an appearance of a loss of what to do. Finally, that richly clad gentleman at the next table could no longer tolerate, and sat down across Jing Chuchu under the watchful eyes of everyone and softly asked, "See that young lady have been sitting alone here waiting for a long time, is it to wait for someone?" Jing Chuchu jumped in shock, and when she raised her head to look at the other person, her face suddenly blushed and she whispered as she lowered her head, I am waiting for my Biao younger sister." That gentleman asked in concern, "Why is young lady's Biao younger sister not here after so long, and how can one leave young lady alone?" Jing Chuchu blushed as she shook her head, and she seemed like she wanted to say something but was afraid to speak. Such actions and appearance when landing on others' eyes was like she was being bullied. The gentleman's heart felt certain and said, "Since I do not have anything on, why not one accompany young lady to wait?" No need to trouble." Jing Chuchu quickly said, "Gentlemen need not." "It is all right." That person said with a smile, "It would only be more troublesome if some malicious people come over, since you are sitting alone. For me to accompany you, it would be much better." His words were soft and he had a gentle smile on his face, making one easily feel comfortable with him. Jing Chuchu lowered her head and said, "Then many thanks to gentlemen." "Young lady do not look like one from Ding capital?" he asked. I am a Suzhou person," Jing Chuchu said. Both of them started the conversation like this, a sentence back and forth. That youth was especially good in speaking, and within a few sentences was able to coax a smile out of Jing Chuchu. Even though she was shy, one gradually got closer due to that person's attitude. As the youth spoke about interesting information, as he seemed to have gone to many places and has a generous family background, Jing Chuchu's smile got deeper. In another elegant room in Guihuolu, one was able to see clearly Jing Chuchu's table from afar through a decorative carved window. Bei Lu said, "A young lady could speak to a strange male for so long." Her words had the meaning of looking down in contempt. "That is not an ordinary man." Shen Miao propped her chin with her hand and lively said, "Young lady know that gentleman?" Xuanzhong asked curiously, and the guards who were in the room were also somewhat surprised. Shen Miao left Jing Chuchu alone there and changed her seating location seemingly so that Jing Chuchu would be able to talk to that man. Now, with implied meaning behind Shen Miao words, she also knew of that man. Shen Miao smiled gently but did not speak. "I say," at the other end, in one of the rooms in Guihuolu, Ji Yushu's eyeballs almost wanted to fall out. Could it be that she knows Sun Kainan? Even though Sun Kainan is the only son of Sun Tianzheng, he had not entered officialdom and was raised in the residence as a wastrel who only knew about eating, drinking and playing. He did not even go to Guangwentang, so how does Shen Miao know of him? Zhao Yang glanced over. "Could it be that you believe this is a coincidence?" Ji Yushu said excitedly. "How is this a coincidence? Even fools can see clearly that Shen young lady deliberately let Sun Kainan meet her Biao older sister that popped out from who knows where. When did I say that this is a coincidence?" Zhao Yang snapped his folding fan and put an act of waving it. "But I felt that not only she knew Sun Kainan, she was long aware of Sun Kainan's likes. Do not you find it strange?" Zhao Yang touched his chin. "Shen Miao, an unmarried young lady, is even more powerful than your Bei Zhaoxing. She had the knowledge of the known and unknown. I am really curious if she know things that we do not know about." "Refrain from slandering Bei Zhaoxing," Ji Yushu refuted. "Shen young lady is originally not an ordinary person. You and me have been monitoring Shen young lady all day long, and if Z third older brother knows about it, he will definitely scold us for being too free. Monitoring her is more interesting than others." Zhao Yang looked outside where Sun Kainan was chatting with Jing Chuchu and asked, "Why not you guess what is her purpose of doing this?" Ji Yushu seriously thought about it. "She want to match-make Sun Kainan and her Biao older sister." "When did you see Shen Miao being this kind-hearted?" Zhao Yang did not hesitate to pour cold water over him. Then what do you say of the matter? Ji Yushu was discouraged. The Minister of Personnel, and the Shen family, is there any dealings recently? Zhao Yan pressed the fan against his chin, deep in thought. Back in Guihuolu, Jing Chuchu had spoken to Sun Kainan for quite long, and the more both of them conversed, the more agreeable they became. If someone looked over, one would have thought it was a celestial couple. After a while more, one saw a few Shen residences guards walking over to Jing Chuchu's side. Be a young lady. Young lady's clothes did not fit and she had lost the mood, thus she had foot the bill with the manager and left first. She has entrusted these subordinates to protect Be a young lady and send Be a young lady back to the residence after Be a young lady finished eating. Jing Chuchu was somewhat astonished. Fifth younger sister returned first. The guard nodded. How could fifth Shen young lady just leave you alone like that? Sun Kainan cried injustice. He had already got to know from Jing Chuchu's lips that the one she was waiting for was the fifth young lady of the Shen residence, Shen Miao. Sun Kainan did not know much about Shen Miao and only know that she was an idiot who was chasing after Prince Ting. Now from today, it seemed that Shen Miao was not only a stupid idiot, but she also liked to bully others. He wanted to be one who had tender and protective feelings for the fairer gender, so how could Jing Chuchu waste his effort? She immediately hung her head down and said uneasily, then I will now head back. How can this do? Sun Kainan immediately said, if one were to return now, the entire table of dishes would be wasted. No one had directly disposed of Guihuolu's dishes before. He looked at Jing Chuchu, who seemed to be at a loss, and smiled gently. How about this? If young lady does not mind, this one is willing to accompany young lady for a meal. He put up an appearance of a gentleman. With so many guards around, why not let them send you back after eating this? Jing Chuchu was in a somewhat loss. Since we have encountered, it meant that you and I are fated. Since fated, one must live up to the fate that the heavens bestowed. That Sun Kainan had a glib tongue. For this one to see young lady today, one had the feeling of meeting one's old friend, thus one start chatting with young lady. Not sure if this one's suggestion, young lady would be willing to accept. After hesitating for a while, Jing Chuchu finally nodded her head hesitantly. Then, one will follow according to gentlemen. Both of them began to truly eat and chat together, and far from the compartment, Shen Miao looked upon that pair and a cold smile started to slowly appear on her lips. She was familiar with Sun Kainan. It was this person who made Shen Kaiyu wear a big green hat in the past life. Shen Kaiyu was young and hot-blooded and dragged his broken leg over and killed this person in a breath. But it was only after one found out that Sun Kainan was the only son of the Minister of Personnel. It was because this Sun Kainan have neither learning nor skills. He would utilize his mouth and good appearance to hook females everywhere. No matter it was young females or women, he would eat them up as much as possible. Sun Yanjing was afraid that the censors would report on him, so he would not let Sun Kainan go out normally. Thus there was only a few people who knew about Sun Kainan. But in this lifetime, she could recognize Sun Kainan even if he turned into ashes. Sun Kainan liked weak and soft Zhongnan females the best, else in the previous lifetime he would not be that audacious to sleep with Shen Kaiyu's woman. Shen Miao's eyes hanged down as she murmured with a voice that only she could hear, Sun Kainan, Jing Chuchu, Bengong personally pulled your fates together in this lifetime, so one must not disappoint.